Moderator. Yesterday, it was announced that Vladivostok, Russia's largest port, is now accessible to China. This news has received significant attention, as experts believe it holds great importance. Expert. Indeed, this development carries significant implications. Moderator. To provide some historical context, Vladivostok was initially occupied by China during a territorial dispute in the 19th century but was later handed over to Russia. Expert. That's correct. The Treaty of Aigun in 1858 and the Treaty of Peking in 1860 officially transferred the territory to Russia. Moderator. This land has changed hands between China and Russia, which could potentially create tension. However, Russia should consider this history and request China's cooperation in using the port. How does this benefit China? Expert. This agreement is a win-win situation for both China and Russia. From China's perspective, it opens up new opportunities. It allows China to access the Pacific region, a vital area for its Belt and Road policy. With Vladivostok's port, China gains a strategic location that facilitates shipping not only to the Pacific Ocean but also through Asia, North America, South America, and even Europe via the North Pole. Moderator. How does one navigate to the North Pole? Expert. Due to global warming, the Arctic's ice has been melting, creating new possibilities for maritime routes. By utilizing the Arctic route, which is shorter by a third compared to traditional routes, China can significantly reduce travel time and costs. Europe, although appearing far on a flat map, becomes much closer when crossing the North Pole. Moderator. That's an interesting perspective. By going over the North Pole, the distance between Vladivostok and Europe becomes more manageable. Expert. Yes, using the Northern Sea route can shorten the distance by a third. Moderator. This also means that China has secured access to the Northern Sea route. Expert. Precisely. The second aspect is related to China's development plans, particularly in its northeastern region, where they have been focusing on the development of industries like Northeast 3 provinces. To support this development, China needs a well-established logistics network. With the port of Vladivostok, they can streamline transportation, reducing distances from Jilin to South China from 1,000 kilometers to just 200 kilometers. This saves time and resources and strengthens China's position in dominating global markets. Moderator. These developments have implications for China's neighbors as well. What are the remaining three factors at play here? Expert. The third factor is the military aspect. Currently, tensions between China and the United States are centered around the South Pacific, particularly in the Taiwan region. However, the North Pacific region has already become an area of contention, with Russia actively enhancing its military capabilities. This alignment between Russia and China adds complexity to the overall situation. Moderator. It seems Russia and China are collaborating closely, driven by mutual interests. What are the three advantages for Russia in this cooperation? Expert. Firstly, Russia has been focusing on developing its Far East since 2012. However, the conflict in Ukraine disrupted these plans. As a result, Russia turned to China to invigorate the Far East's development. Moderator. Initially, Russia was hesitant to cooperate directly with China in Vladivostok due to its historical ties with China. How did South Korea come into the picture? Expert. In 2017, when Moon Jae-in's government took office in South Korea, they announced the new Northern Policy during a visit to Vladivostok. They proposed the Concrete 9 Bridges project, and Russia warmly welcomed these initiatives. Moderator. So Russia had a plan to develop the Far East in collaboration with South Korea, but now it seems like we are no longer part of it. Expert. It's really unfortunate. If you visit Vladivostok, you'll see that 80% of the young people there are Korean. Vladivostok used to be, is now, and should be a part of Korea in the future. Even, Gangwon province burned down, in Korean pronounced as Vladivostok. Moderator. We had significant interactions and invested a lot of money in travel. Expert. Well, now we're in a situation where we are handing it over to China. Moderator. Shouldn't we transfer the project to China, even if it's already developed? Expert. Ultimately, now there's an opportunity for South Korea to become a subcontractor for a Chinese company or something similar. Moderator. So the delayed development of Siberia can be seen as Russia's concession to China, right? Expert. Firstly, it is given priority to China. Moderator. Yes, the opportunities we had in Korea are gone. Expert. Currently, it seems that Russia is not looking forward to cooperating with South Korea. Moderator. From Russia's perspective, their partnership with China in the Far East development is a significant move. What is the second win-win point for Russia? Expert. Russia has been steadily increasing its military presence in the North Pacific for a considerable period of time. It's not limited to just the North Pacific itself, but also extends to the routes leading to the North Pacific. In 2007, Russia planted its flag in the Arctic, which drew criticism from neighboring countries. Although they were scolded for it, they remained quiet and started deploying troops in 2016. Currently, the focus is on the Pacific East Sea in the Northeast. Military exercises in this region began in 2009 and have been conducted annually since then. One notable exercise was Vostok in 2008 during the former Soviet Union, which involved a large-scale deployment of 300,000 troops. China has now sent 3,600 troops, and joint military exercises have taken place, including during the war in Ukraine last year, where 50,000 troops were mobilized. 14 countries, including China and India, participated in these exercises. This demonstrates Russia's efforts to strengthen its military power in the North Pacific, with China naturally becoming an addition to this endeavor. Moderator. From China's perspective, the United States has played a significant role in fostering closer ties between China and Russia. Expert. Yes, that's where Russia and China found common ground and joined forces. Moderator. Actually, the United States has facilitated the convergence between China and Russia. In the past, they used to compete with each other and act as checks on one another. However, now they are remarkably close, to the extent that we can even describe it as an alliance. Expert. Even during the Cold War, they were never this close, reaching the point of calling it an alliance. Moderator. During that era, ideology was the driving force. Expert. Nowadays, it's not only economic reasons but also the shared target of dealing with the United States that brings them together. Moderator. I believe Russia will increase its military activities in the region, likely driven by economic factors as well. Expert. The economy and security are currently closely intertwined. Moderator. However, South Korea was not considered an enemy country. Russia regarded South Korea as its friendliest country, and according to Russian public opinion polls, South Korea had the best image. But now, it seems that South Korea is being treated as a virtual enemy. Is there an increasing presence of Russian military activities in the region? Expert. With the ongoing war in Ukraine, there is a growing separation between two countries, leading to an adversarial relationship. Moderator. Additionally, considering the president's statement about the possibility of sending weapons, has Russia intensified its military activities in the East Sea region? Expert. That is something we are currently overlooking, but it is worth noting that Russia has already established a military belt stretching from the North Pole to the Pacific Ocean through the East Sea. This military presence was initiated in the early 1980s during the height of the Cold War. Russia has a military presence in the Arctic and the Pacific. Another important aspect is the agreement to utilize the Cam Ranh Bay base in Vietnam, signed in 2012. This agreement involved providing Vietnam with $10 billion in economic assistance and reusing the base, which was previously labeled as a ship repair station but effectively operates as a military base. In 2014, the Ajan Hassan project included a clause allowing Russian ships, including warships, to enter the port for the purpose of safeguarding the entry of merchant ships. While it may not appear significant on the surface, it holds strategic importance. Since then, Russia has continued to enhance its military capabilities and cooperation. In 2022, during the midst of the war, the original base in the Pacific was relocated from Vladivostok to Kamchatka. Furthermore, a decree was amended to permit warships to enter the port of Vladivostok. Moderator. However, in the context of our situation, what does Russia's actions have to do with us? We find ourselves in the midst of tensions, potentially becoming an enemy country. Expert. Currently, Russia's military strategy stretches from the North Pole through the South Pacific's East Sea. They have the ability to freely navigate in the air, on the sea's surface, and even underwater. We have already witnessed this expansion, and it is not an isolated incident. There have been numerous training sessions recently. The problem lies in our lack of serious consideration for these developments. Moderator. So, just as we have the India-Pacific powers, Russia's military strategy places us at the forefront of tension and potential future conflicts. We are being led by Russia, with the United States and Japan relying on us, correct? Expert. In a way, we are assuming the role of spearhead or vanguard. Moderator. So, are we acting as sentinels for the United States and Japan? Expert. Well, you could say that we have moved a step beyond mere sentinels. Moderator. We don't have a reason to do so, and there is no military necessity for these actions. Expert. It is not beneficial for us. Moderator. Can we say that the president is a freedom fighter in this context? The president has become a champion of freedom, and we find ourselves on the front lines of military and security tensions. Expert. Well, in a way, our goal is to alleviate tensions and live in a more peaceful environment. Continuously getting entangled in these tensions is a serious concern. Bargaining should replace fighting, but it seems we are moving in the opposite direction.